Hey there, everyone. This is Samuel Johnson, and welcome back to the Lyoko Retrospectives. And today we're going to be discussing episode 3 of Code Lyoko, Holiday in the Fog. And as the title of the episode implies, it's vacation time at the school that the Lyoko group goes to. As such, since the school seems to be sort of like a boarding school, that typically means that when vacation comes up, everyone in the group goes traveling. In this case, Yumi goes on vacation with her parents. According to Ulrich, Odd goes halfway around the world, which makes me think he either lives. I don't know where he lives. Either way, it requires going on a plane. While Ulrich himself is getting some math tutoring. However, the group is fully aware that if they go away during the vacation, then Xana will be able to pull the trap, and none of them will be there to stop it. As such, the group intentionally sets up a prank that they want to get caught. In this case, Ulrich and Jeremy are graffitiing a picture of Jim on the side of a building that makes him look like a total idiot. And as they're spray painting, Odd will send his dog into Jim's room and wake him up. And oh yeah, this is the episode where we actually finally get to see Odd's dog. I don't really know what the breed is. I'm not good with breeds, even though I love dogs. But we see that Og has a dog named Kiwi, and he is still adorable. It's small. He's small. He's kind of got a Chihuahua body, but he's got this big pointy face with small ears. I guess you could say it's a Chihuahua, but don't quote me on that. It kind of has similar builds, but it's not a Chihuahua. If you know what the breed is, please let me know. Either way, it's adorable, and I want to hug it. And it manages to wake Jim up, which causes Jim to chase it out of his room and right outside where he catches it. Where in this case, Ulrich ran off, while pretty much leaving Jeremy holding the can in this case, quite literally, as Jeremy pretty much lays claim to the graffiti. As such, with this, he's now given attention for all of vacation, for all the holiday vacation, which is exactly what he wanted, since, again, Xana. However, as he's talking about this with the group, unfortunately, once again, the resident alpha bitch of the school, Sissy, overhears them and hears Jeremy mention the name Xana. Of course, she has absolutely no idea who the hell Xana is, and so she wants to get as much information as she can, which means she wants to stay behind for vacation as well. As such, she manages to go to her dad and she managed to talk him into letting her stay behind, saying that she needs to study for her math, and if she's on vacation, she won't even consider studying. As such, her dad does kind of follow the logic and does. As such, she tries to use this opportunity to get to try and coax any information she can out of Jeremy. Though Jeremy continues to play dumb, as Jim is put in charge of both Jeremy and Sissy. And he tasks Jeremy with scrubbing off the graffiti while Sissy's supposed to be doing math, which I think is a dumb idea. At the very least, I think if he was sending his daughter behind, he'd at least hire a teacher. And I'm sorry, it doesn't really make sense. It didn't really make sense to have them both be under the same supervision especially have them both be under the same supervision, especially since Jeremy's got detention while Sissy's just there to study. I know again, you kind of want to say, well, someone needs to watch her, but that just brings you out to why couldn't he just get like a teacher or something? I don't know. Maybe none of them are available. Still, but if that's the case, then shouldn't he say, well, I'm sorry, Sissy, I can't do that. You can't do that. You'll have to go. I can't do that because I can't spare anyone. But whatever, plot has to happen. Either way, though, yeah, Jeremy still sees this as an absolute win. He still thinks that he can make that again. That he's there if Xana causes any problems, and it'll give him time to work on the devirtualization process for Aelita. And of course, since we do need to have an episode, Xana does of course spring into action as we once again see more of Xana's tendrils come to a power outlet, which still looks unbelievably creepy. As Xana manages to go to these barrels full of some kind of toxic whatever, and infects them and causes them to knock over, resulting in this weird purple gas spewing out. Of course, Nobody seems to notice what it is until later that night, though, as Jeremy decides that he needs to get as Jeremy's working on the devirtualization program, he decides he has to get to the supercomputer back at the factory in order to finalize it. But as he's going to the secret hideout under the school, he happens to hear commotion in one of the back rooms, and when he opens it up, he sees the gas coming out, and he just slams it shut. And he slams the door shut, though he did get a good whiff of the stuff, and he's just in a coughing fit. Jim comes in and spots Jeremy. At that point, Jim comes in and catches Jeremy as he's there, and Jeremy tries directing Jim's attention to the gas in the room, and so Jim goes to check it out. Only the gas is mysteriously gone, though the barrels have been knocked over. Jeremy, of course, is smart enough to realize that gas doesn't just disappear like that, so he's aware that this is most likely Xana's doing. Unfortunately, Jim sequesters Jeremy off to his room, and so he needs to make sure that. And so he decides that, and unfortunately, Alita kind of confirms that, yeah, Xan is awake again, and he's activated a tower, though they have no idea what it is. As such, next chance Jeremy gets, he does manage to sneak out and run to the factory, and it turns out, and he's able to figure out what Xan is planning. As it turns out, the chemicals inside the barrels were highly toxic, and as such, the gas that was made from them, is just as toxic, and if breathed in too much, it could possibly kill someone. As such, Jeremy is able to narrow down the location of the tower to the forest region, which we did briefly see in the last episode. And so he managed to call in Odd, Ulrich, and Yumi just before they go off for their vacations. We see Ulrich ditching his math tutoring while his tutor's back is turned. Yumi running out of her family's car just before they leave, and Odd just running away from the airport just as he tries sneaking his dog through instead of having Kiwi go through baggage. However, unfortunately, Xan has been at work, as the gas that Xan is producing is kind of sentient, because again, Xan is controlling it. As such, it's begun spreading throughout the school, and as later scenes confirm, it's going even further than that. As we see Sissy in her room sleeping, she was trying to catch Jeremy in the act of sneaking out and wound up falling asleep. And so Xana managed to pour all the gas right into her room, and as such, when she wakes up, she freaks out and managed to run out. As for Jim, he woke up with himself and is looking for Jeremy because he was supposed to keep an eye on him, and Jeremy wasn't in his room. But in the meantime, he hears Sissy screaming, goes to check it out, and as she runs into him, she tells him about the fog, which he initially doesn't believe her on because Jeremy said the same thing. But a second later, it's confirmed that, yeah, she's telling the truth, as the fog seems to come up around the corner and chases after them. They do ultimately try running away, but the fog keeps following them wherever they go until eventually they try hiding in a broom closet. A broom closet, even covering up the crack between the bottom of the door and the hall, so the gas can't seep in. But that in turn causes them more problems as they learn that the room has no ventilation, meaning that they're pretty much stuck between a rock and a hard place. If they leave the room, they'll be subject to the gas, which, as we established, is highly toxic. And if they stay in there, they'll eventually suffocate. So they're pretty much screwed. In the meantime, though, Jeremy does try leaving himself. Jeremy himself decides that he has to go back to the school to check and see if Sissy and Jim are okay. But when he gets there, he's accosted by the gas and almost passes out. It's at that point that Yumi and Ulrich appear, and so they're able to get Jeremy out of the gas, and Ulrich goes back in to look for Sissy and Jim, while Yumi manages to drag Jeremy back to the lab, running into Odd on the way there. As such, once they get back to the lab, Jeremy tries to recover as best he can, and so he gets the virtualization process started so that Yumi and Ulrich can go into, and has Ulrich and Odd go. Sorry, I keep getting Odd and Ulrich's names mixed up. That was a thing even when I was a kid. I'm so sorry. Either way, he gets Yumi and Odd. I keep getting their names mixed up. That is a problem. I gotta work on that. He managed to get Yumi and Odd into Lyoko, and has them sent to the forest region. And oh yeah, this is kind of a nice thing. We see how Alita is able to travel between the various regions, as she can go to any one of the towers in any one of the regions, and how she usually deactivates them is that she goes to the center of whatever the main floor is on the tower, floats up, and then goes to the upper region and deactivates it by entering a code. So for this case, how it works And so to travel between them, she goes to that main floor, jumps down, and as such, while falling through, she ends up falling to a tower in another region. As such, they go to the floor. As such, Yumi and Odd manage to virtualize into the forest region. Now we can actually see how Yumi looks in Lyoko, and it's a similar vein to Odd, though. Now that I think about it, Odd is more kind of ninja-esque. But either way, Yumi seems to does exemplify more of a samurai feel, samurai / geisha feel. She has her hair tied up in a bun. She's got like she's kind of like a dress. She kind of got like a little geisha dress with a wrap around it and everything. But it's more slimming and actually seems to be more prepared for combat. She has fans that she can use as weapons that she can throw at her enemies. And so she and Odd manage to meet up with Aelita in the forest region, and they're able to track down where the tower is. But unfortunately, again, Xana managed to send more of his monsters after them to try and halt them. In the meantime, Ulrich does manage to try and find where Jim and Sissy are, but at this point the school is just filled up with the gas, and while he is able to find the room they're in, unfortunately he managed to get a good whiff of the stuff and he passes out. Jim and Sissy did hear him when he got to where they were hiding, and so they managed to pull him into the room closet, thinking that they can get help. And while they aren't able to wake him up, they do see that he has a cell phone on because he was calling Jeremy at the time, and so they tried calling Jeremy for help. But unfortunately, in pulling Ulrich back through, pouring Ulrich into, did I call him Odd before? I'm sorry. I really have to work on that. I'm sorry. I even messed that up when I was a kid. But in pulling Ulrich into the room, unfortunately, they left part of the door exposed, and so the gas starts seeping in. As such, Yumi and Odd managed to take out at least two of the monsters that Xana sends after them, which allows us to see more of Yumi's abilities. We learn that one of her special abilities in Lyoko is that she's got psychic powers, and she can use that to telekinetically move stuff, including a rock which uses to crush one of the monsters. Which she also manages to use a distraction, allowing Odd and Aelita to get by. As after destroying the second monster, she jumps on top of the rock, and the other one just shoots her until she's devirtualized. As such, Odd and Aelita manage to get to where the last tower is, and Odd manages to ultimately destroy. Odd manages to take out the last monster in pretty much a bit of mutually assured destruction. As Aelita managed to deactivate the tower, in reverse time. And as such, the episode ends with Jeremy and Ulrich once again graffitiing the side of Jim's shack, but this time making him looking like a king. So yeah. Overall, I like this episode. It's pretty nice. There's not really as much revealed in this episode as in other episodes, but it's a nice, solid episode. Sorry, my dog's over there, so he might be shaking the bed, so I apologize if the camera shakes or if you hear jingling. But either way, the episode is pretty solid for what it is. Like I said, it doesn't reveal anything that new except for, I think, one or two things, but otherwise, it's pretty solid, and it's pretty solid, and the method of how Xana Xana's method of attack in this one is admittedly a very disturbing one. In this case, it kind of is an idea of mustard gas, suffocation. In this case, it's kind of like a side of mustard gas. Like anyone that breathes it in can pass out, and if they just keep breathing it in, they'll eventually die. It's a simple torture, but it's an effective one. Just because it pretty much turns the air around you into your enemy. And so, it kind of and as such, the fact that Xana is unleashing it in a school and his first target is children, it's actually kind of creepy. When Jeremy talked about how toxic the gas was, and you saw it creeping through the vents until it eventually reached Sissy's room, look at that and think, oh crap, he's gonna kill a child. It's actually really intense, and that's actually something I will note about the series so far, and just the 3 episodes. They have a way of making every one of Xana's attacks feel really damn intense. Because that's the thing. Because they really have a way of kind of building up the tension. Because when Xana attacks, he doesn't seem to go small. Like, we got the giant teddy bear, which could be a valid threat on its own as just like a monster. But then you had, like, Xana overloading a pylon to try and store as much electricity as he could so that he can attack a nuclear plant and then cause the whole thing to melt down, which would cause a nuclear disaster, which would cause a disaster. And now you got pretty much mustard, and you pretty much got us a made from scratch version of mustard gas. It's actually really intense, and it really kind of gets your blood pumping when you see it in action. It's just a simple thing. You have to get caught in it, and even if you hold your breath, eventually you gotta breathe. And so when when you have this gas that's everywhere and is alive and can actually follow you, so even if you run out of it, it could just come right after you. That is actually pretty damn creepy. Sentient gas that is actively trying to get you to breathe it in so you can kill you. That's it. Ugh. And it also helps when near the end of the episode. Something of note that even the last 2 episodes and this one have included is that it really does know how to keep you on the edge of your seat, because it makes it perfectly clear, if the good guys don't deactivate the tower that Xana activated, they're screwed. They're dead. Just gone. Kaput. Capiche. Just kaput. Blah. Gone. Dead. Etc. And it really just kind of it has a way of keeping you on the edge of your seat, for that matter. Like for Teddy Godzilla, it felt less like that, it felt like you could still run away from the giant teddy bear as it moved slowly, but moved slowly, but at the same time it was about to crush one of the main characters, so there was something there. But for the pylon, to see Xana actually reach full capacity, and even putting a timer on top of that and almost achieve his goal, that's actually creepier. But again, Xana still didn't achieve it. Here we see that the gas is now an active threat, and really it's not a matter of timing. It's just a matter of get people away from the gas. In this case, because all it takes is for someone to be exposed to this stuff and get a good and just take a good long breath. And then that's it. That you're screwed. And when you see the tension with Sissy and Jim as they're now locked in a closet with the gas on one side and them in this closet with no ventilation, it helps add another sense of dread to that. Because again, it's pretty much just it's literally pick your poison. Die by both are forms of suffocation. One has you breathing in a toxic gas. One has you just slowly losing oxygen. It's pretty damn creepy, and it really does build up the tension, especially when Auric, as he goes in looking for Sissy and Jim, it ultimately passes out while looking for them, showing that, and which also kind of puts another sense of dread into that too, because I think this is also one of the first time we see one of the main characters almost get killed. I mean, again, we had Teddy Godzilla as the giant teddy bear almost crushed Auric, but in this case, it makes it clear that he could have easily died while here. He walked in the middle of the gas. He tried covering his mouth as best he could, but as Jim was talking to him, he fell over, and he stays out of it until they reverse time at the end of the episode. So it makes it so one of the main characters could have easily died, and it kind of makes me wonder how this show. It kind of makes me wonder how messed up these kids could probably get if they keep doing this. Because if they do encounter more situations like this where they're almost at near death, it could kind of mess them up a bit. Which, yeah, that's kind of a big thing. As such, yeah, I liked how Xana operated in this episode. Just a simple torture, but a very effective one, and it's really nice. Although seeing this episode makes you wonder, how exactly can Xana interact with the world through those tendrils? Again, computer virus. Again, Xana's a computer virus. How much influence over the real world does Xana have? I don't know. It's a question that you do ponder from time to time, but not time to time. But you forgive because again, Xana is still really creepy, very creepy. Especially with the music they give for when the gas is just moving around, or when Xana's tendrils come out of the light socket and go for the barrels. So another minor, effective story in that regard, but. Aside from that, the only other things this episode kind of introduces three new things. One is the introduction of Kiwi, who was still adorable. Two, while Sissy is trapped with Jim, she admits that part of the reason she bullies the Lyoko group is because she kind of wants to be a part of the group, but doesn't know how to be in it, which I guess gives her more layers, but to my knowledge, that doesn't come up very often in the show, so all I really can say is that it's a thing. So... But I guess the third thing is for what happens when it is kind of an excuse for why Xana doesn't just try this trick again, as as for in the previous Returns to the Past, you can easily make the argument that what's stopping Xana from just doing it all over again? They rewind time, and now Xana just knows, okay, don't do this or something, or trying something new. Well, because it turns out that whenever they deactivate a tower, whenever they deactivate whatever Xana's doing, it kind of puts them on sleep mode for a while. Because at the end of the episode, Ulrich and Jeremy are once again graffitiing the side of Jim's shed. Ulrich says, "Are you sure you want to get attention again? Even though Xana's not going to be reactivated for a while." Jeremy makes it clear, no. It kind of makes it clear. It kind of gives the impression that whenever they defeat Xana, Xana just just shuts down for a little while. It's not permanent as the language Alita uses that Xana wakes up. So odds are it's like putting him on sleep mode for a while. It doesn't knock him out, but it does keep him away for a little while, and that's all they need. So I guess that's a nice little thing. Otherwise, though, again, I think the biggest thing, honestly, again, it's still a nice episode, and the whole gas thing I think is simple but really damn effective, and this episode kind of helps exemplify the tension that the series usually the episodes in the series can get whenever Xana goes into action. So, yeah, on the whole, liked it. It's a nice episode, really nice. So, yeah, that's all I have to say, everyone. Thank you for watching. I'm Samuel Johnson, and I'll see you next week. Take care.